Hey, slutbag! What's your problem, bro? We're trying to have a good time. Nope. Who the hell are you? What the hell? We got to go to the circus.
What's going on, guys and gals, and welcome to Good Real Hunting, where we hunt for the good reels, so you don't have to. It's your boy Brad, the Brett Man's right over there. We got a very special episode today, a new way of kicking off this the reviews segment of our channel here today. We're going to be doing the very first live interactive movie review, and that's going to be for Dr. Sleep, the sequel to The Shining from 2019. What is the live interactive movie review? Well, let me tell you what it is, man. We want to get live interaction from you, the audience, about this movie. We want to be freaking. We like to have that interaction. We want to have the most interactive YouTube channel out there in this circle. So what we're going to do today is we're going to do our normal thing. We're going to talk about Dr. Sleep, and we're going to be taking your points as well as we talk about it. And at the end, we're going to have an opportunity for you guys to grade the movie. We're going to get a fan rating. We're going to get a percentage of fans. There's a poll going right now with whether or not you like Dr. Sleep. So vote on that. We're trying to get a percentage on horror fans who like this movie. And then we're going to get a horror fan grade at the end as well. So obviously, the more people we can get into these things, the more fun they're going to be. So share it around, like it, all that fun stuff. It helps us out a lot. We want to build a community here and get these numbers where we want to be as far as the percentages so we can get accurate representation on these things. That's a lot to say. Brett, how are you today?
Man, I wish I could say I'm doing good, but today is kind of a little bit of a sad day for the B-Man, especially for my childhood. Jason David Frank passed away. Unfortunately, if y'all don't know who that is, he is the Green Ranger, White Ranger, but mainly known for the Green Ranger. So a little bit of my childhood, like my heart broke today. And but other than that, I'm doing okay. Everything else is fine. Just a little sad day for the B-Man. And plus, I just now saw that Hendon Hooker tore his ACL. He's out for the year.
Yeah, that's very sad all around, man. I figured that was probably going to be the case, but nonetheless, we're going to have a good time today. We're going to try to put all that sad stuff behind us. We're going to have some fun talking Dr. Sleep. This was my favorite movie from 2019.
You guys in the chat are going to cheer me up, so I'm here. I'm happy today. We already got 10 people in the chat, so we're going to keep on freaking plugging along here. Before I actually address the chat, we want to thank our lovely Real Hunters. Those are our Patreons that are the backbone of our channel, so I just want to show those incredible people's names off real quick. And if you want to be a Real Hunter, go in our description down below. There is a link to our Patreon page, and you can join the Real Hunter family today.
Hell to the yes, man. It's going to be awesome. And man, it's a fun ride, man. We're having a good time.
Yeah, so let me go ahead and see who all is here. This was like when I first created the stream, so I gotta freaking throw this out there. Blake saying ready for this one, so hopefully you're here in the chat right now. We got Thomas, what's going on? Speaking of our Patreon, we got Lamontre, what's going on? Yo, Adrian, how you doing? SPC saying, hey guys, Dr. Sleep is easily the most slept on the film. I see what you did there of 2019. I love this film to death as it really enhances the world of Kubrick created back in 1980. And trust me, my friend, we're going to get into that particular talk point. So we agree with you. And we also got Gory. I was about to call you Gary. Gory Tiger. What's going on? Kyle from Return to Living Flat. We got Veronica. We got the J-Man who recently hit 100 subscribers on his new channel. So congratulations, J-Man. And also we got another Patreon of ours of Jake. What's going on there, Jake? Oh, and Brother Fluff too. What's going on, Brother Fluff? Another Patreon of ours.
Welcome. Yeah, we're glad to have you all along. Like I said, be sure to hit that poll. We want to get as many people to hit that so the percentage is accurate. The reason we wanted to do this, Yeah, this is something we've been wanting to do for a long time because, you know, you look at Rotten Tomatoes, right? This is kind of the formula we're putting in here. You look at Rotten Tomatoes, you know, horror movies always get a bad rep on there because, you know, you get your critics coming in doing things. We wanted to get a percentage-based system in here that's rated by horror fans themselves. So we want to see this by horror fans. A rating for the fans by the fans is what we're trying to do here today. So it's good. It's a new system we're doing. Work with us as we tweak it. But this is something that we've been kind of talking about for a while, and it'll continue to be worked on over throughout the future.
Yeah, so so you're all about to be a part of something really special here on the Good Reel channel, because again, this is interactive. So when you interact with us, the better the video, the better the content. So we are really asking a lot from you, so this channel could be a success, because this is no longer our channel. This is your all's channel now. And before we dive into the movie review, I just always want to say, what do you all think about Dr. Sleep? Do you love this movie? Be sure, again, like Brad's keep on saying, be sure to vote on that. But if you're watching after the fact, let us know in that comment section down below, and let's always get that discussion rolling.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, so should we go ahead and start with the movie facts first?
Let's rock it, man.
All righty, let me get a deep breath real quick. Dr. Sleep came out on November the 8th of 2019. IMDb gave it a 7.3 out of 10, while Letterboxd a 3.4 out of 5, where most of the votes came in at a 4. The tomato meter is 78% by the critics and 89% from the audience. A budget of $45 million, with a domestic box office of $32 million for the good old US of A, and global is $72 million. And the director is by Mike Flanagan, and in Flanagan we trust. And the cast is Ewan McGregor. I probably butchered that name, but sorry, Obi-Wan. Rebecca Ferguson and Kylie Curran.
Yeah, dude. Awesome stuff. Rebecca Ferguson toured. I mean, the whole cast was great, man. But Ewan McGregor and Rebecca Ferguson really stood out in this thing, for sure. And it's just a travesty. This thing didn't make any money. You can see from the numbers, it bombed at the box office, which is why we never got the further prequel series that they were going to look into with the Halloran movie that they were going to talk about, or they talked about doing. I think this is one of the most underrated movies that's come out in over the last 20 years, probably. I mean, it's pretty ridiculous. But it did have some success once they dropped it on HBO and stuff. Word of mouth kind of got out. They had some success there, but it's unfortunate.
Yeah, it really is. It's just because of how damn good this movie is, and I cannot wait to talk about it and let y'all just to kind of try to change y'all's minds. I saw from the poll that so far y'all been agreeing that this has been a really good movie. So Brad, anything else you want to comment here before we go to kind of the reviews that really stuck out to us?
I think that's it. I wanted to cap Antonis's question here. Is Ferguson Rose the Hat? Yes, she is.
Yes.
It looks like Aaron got to it before I could.
Yeah, and what's going on, Aaron? Click in the chat.
Yes.
So, all right, Brad, since this is the movie review you were wanting to do, so I'll let you kick off first with your fresh review.
Yeah, dude, this is from Brian Eggert from Deep Focus Review. Rotten Tomato review here says Dr. Sleep manages to do the impossible by somehow remaining faithful to both King's books and Kubrick's film, yet in a way that creates a unique amalgam what the hell is of both sources, producing something altogether new. This is the biggest point for me of this movie, the most impressive thing that they were able to do, that Flanagan was able to do, and that is to create a sequel to not only Kubrick's movie, but also stay faithful to the Stephen King version of the story as well. So I thought that was really impressive. I didn't think it would be possible to do. I thought when they announced the movie, I thought they would kind of put the Kubrick movie on the back burner and just make the movie based on more on the book Dr. Sleep. But they were able to intermingle those perfectly.
Yeah, so you could easily say that Brian was a good egg.
Yes, he was a good egg, man. I like that guy.
Yeah, and I'll just to throw along with Brian here. Matthew Rosa, if you actually remember this guy, I actually took his quote from The Shining, from our Shining review. And you know what? I figure let's bring him back for a life, just to read out his positive review for Dr. Sleep from Salon.com, saying Dr. Sleep feels like the logical continuation to Stanley Kubrick's adaptation of The Shining. absolutely agree with that. It's just like it's a nice flow from original movie to a sequel and all that. So I definitely had to make that be known for good old Mr. Matthew.
Yeah, dude, freaking awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. But with the good, there also comes the bad. So, Brad.
This is from Jeff. His name's Jeff Beck from the Blue Spot. Don't know what that was, but first off, this mofo gave it a 3 out of 5 and gave it a rotten review somehow. That doesn't make any sense. But he said Mike Flanagan's cinematic adaptation of Stephen King's Dr. Sleep is visually striking and beautifully made, but an insubstantial narrative stretched out to 3 hours sadly make the film that fades from memory pretty quickly. Was this mine or is this yours?
No, this is
mine?
yours.
Okay, cool. I couldn't remember which one I did. I totally disagree with this, man. I think 3 hours was this actually merited, 3 hours. There's a lot of story being told. We're talking about the director's cut here. If you haven't seen that, I highly recommend. But yeah, I think it's totally worth the time. There's a lot of story being told, a lot of character development going on within this movie. Really, this thing is really, really heavily character based, and I think it definitely sticks with you for a while after watching. It's one of those I've liked more and more as the years have gone on.
Yeah, dude. And plus, when he mentioned about the 3 hours, he's talking about the director's cut, obviously, because the director's cut is exactly 3 hours, while the original cut was like 2 hours and 40 minutes. So we had like 20 extra minutes of extra footage in this movie, and we'll talk about it more as we're going along with the review. So fuck you, Jeff, who said that. But also, David Sampson's a little bit of an idiot from the Atlantic, saying Dr. Sleep is wonderfully reverent when it comes to Kubrick's films, but that means it can't escape the shining shadow, no matter how much King might want it to. Escape his shadow. I didn't think it actually wanted to escape his shadow. It wanted the Shining to be included with Doctor Sleep, but while also Doctor Sleep actually being its own entire movie too. The only real time they really heavily go Shining is like towards the third act.
Yeah, and that's kind of the same thing Aaron Click's saying here. It's a great continuation, but I love that they didn't try to go for the exact same feel. Yeah, Doctor Sleep does a great job standing on its own, and then SPC Bird said this was a film that had big shoes to fill being the sequel to The Shining, but I thought it did some things better than The Shining.
Yeah, and you know what? I kind of agree with that too, because this is actually a very close, kind of like close between which is better between The Shining and Doctor Sleep for me. But again, we'll go into more detail on that battle in a couple of weeks when we do the Slash It Out episode for these two movies.
Hell yeah, dude, that's gonna be a blast.
Oh yeah. So David, you can go fuck off there. So Brad, anything else before we officially get started?
No, man. We're gonna just kind of roll through the movie like we have been doing with our reviews. And like I said, once we get towards like the third act, talking about that, we're gonna change the poll from whether the yes or no to an actual letter grade. So stick around for that, so we can get that letter grade in and get this thing fan rated.
Yeah. So, all right. So I believe you have this. So it's time for some Doctor Sleep, which is again based off the book of Stephen King, directed by Mike Flanagan. And before we continue to go heavy in this, this does. We have a rule on the Good Rule Hunting channel of the 5 years. This has been released within 5 years. We understand that not a lot of people have seen this movie. So we are going to go into spoiler territory. So if you have not seen Dr. Sleep, we strongly suggest you doing so. And as you saw for our movie fact card, it is available on HBO Max right now. But just in case, I got a word from Darth Stewie.
No, hang on. Spoiler alert! Okay.
Thank you, Darth Stewie. So, Brad, without further ado, spoiler time. Let's go dive into Dr. Sleep.
Okay. If you want to just keep an eye on the chat for a minute, I'm going to try to go through some of this other media that we have. But this, like we said, the director's cut's kind of what we're talking about. It's pretty much the same story, but there's a little bit more to it. I don't know if we'll get too much into the details of that. But the director's cut's broken up into 6 chapters. That's kind of the outline we're going to try to follow here today, starting with chapter 1, which was Old Ghost. And this basically opens out the movie. It starts off with this little girl at like this campground by the name of Violet, and she's walking around out there, and she runs into freaking creepy ass Rose the Hat sitting over there by the water, and that's when we get the introduction to Rebecca Ferguson's freaking awesome character, great performance, everything good, Rose the Hat.
Well, hi there.
Where did you find those?
I know all the secret places.
And so this scene actually, when they're sitting out there by the water, really, I mean, it feels it. I think it's comparable to Pennywise at the beginning of It. Whenever Georgie comes up to the
Good
sewers,
comparison.
and he sees Georgie in there, and he gets lured in. That's basically the same thing Rose the Hat's doing here, is trying to get this young girl to trust her, and then we get the introduction to the True Knot.
Yeah, which first off, great name for a kind of like I wouldn't call it a cult group, but more like just an evil group, because True Knot is kind of like their whole emphasis is based off upon family. And what a great, again, yeah, there's the True Knot right there. It's just like a freaking knot, man. Like they're just tied into a big tight ball of how close they are to each other in a family. So I love the name for that. And of course, Rebecca the Hat, Rose the Hat, is absolutely a horror icon, a late horror icon that got introduced in the late 2010s that will be remembered for the rest of the horror genre.
I think so, man. Especially when you're talking about female villains. I mean, she's going to be way
Yes.
up on that list. I mean, she's right up there with the best of them, and she really stole the show throughout this whole movie. And it starts with this really unsettling opening where they, basically the True Knot, kills this young girl and steals her steam, which all that was off screen, but it was, it's super creepy, man. Very disturbing. But then, I mean, then we get introduced to, like, we go back and do some flashbacks in the Overlook. We see, they've recasted, all the Danny and Wendy, all that fun stuff. Danny's riding around the hotel, the Overlook. We see it's the same hotel from Kubrick's movie. Obviously, they recasted the characters as opposed to using CGI, and I thought that was a good call. I think it's less distracting, and it worked really well. And, it's a decent little sequence where we kind of get reintroduced to these characters.
Oh yeah, absolutely agree with you. Just because like it was around this time too, where the cinema was experimenting kind of like with de-aging technology and all that, kind of like how they did with Carrie Fisher and Rogue One, a Star Wars story. So I'm kind of glad that Mike Flanagan did decide to go to that particular direction with this, just because to me, those two characters from The Shining in 1980 are so iconic. To even try to attempt something like that to me will feel like it's out of place. So I do absolutely agree with the newer like actor and actress that played Wendy and little Danny. And I wanted to read this comment from Flopbuster. First off, what's going on, Flopbuster and Tony? Saying that opening is chilling. Love the subtle camera work, nodding to Kubrick. Sets the tone perfectly. Yeah, dude, absolutely. You see a lot of big nods to camera work in particular for Kubrick's film.
Yeah, dude, 100%. It starts early and often. Yeah, especially actually, I was about to comment on the hotel when Danny's riding around through the hotel in the little flashback. Dude, the attention to detail in there, it's comparable to the flashback from Halloween Kills. Really, I mean, it's so spot on. Recreating this set and just the way that they shoot Danny riding around on the trike. Yeah, I mean, it's spot on callback, and it's fantastic.
Dude, it's absolutely fantastic. And yeah, so we get a bunch of those flashbacks, and we see Danny once again finding room 237, and that is where the old hag makes a decaying old hag, making her return, full frontal and everything. So this director's cut did not hold back.
It did not, dude. But then we get a nice scene with Danny and Dick out on this bench. They're talking. We find out again in the novel, Dr. Sleep, actually in the novel, The Shining, Dick survives the events of The Shining. He's actually in Dr. Sleep, the novel, as his actual physical presence, but Kubrick killed him off. So what Flanagan did is he put him in here as a ghost, Shining, and they're they're continuing to be friends and have that relationship that way. And somebody mentioned in the chat just a second ago, SPC, the guy casted as Halloran was perfect. Absolutely, dude. Look at this. Look how freaking spot on this is.
Oh, dude, it's very identical. I thought for a minute, dude, they actually brought back Dick, like the original one from 1980. If I remember well, it's almost close to a 40-year-old movie, so there's no way. So yeah, if you could get me the question if that's the actual actor, great casting job.
Yeah, dude. I think it's pretty spot on. Like it's really, really solid, and I like seeing them. This is actually fun fact. I watched the commentary on this recently, so I'll have some little fun facts throughout. But the bench they're sitting on here. Not only is there's a shot later in the movie when Danny's talking to Abra on the bench, which mirrors this. It's kind of the same shot of the younger Shining person and the older Shining person. It's actually the same physical bench later in the movie. So I thought that was kind of cool that we get to see that. But yeah, Dick's pretty much telling them, hey, you're going to have to help somebody one day. I never shined like you did. And, all this stuff like that. So that's kind of cool, foreshadowing the story, setting up for later.
Oh, dude, that was so absolutely perfect how he just subtly threw that in there. Just because, again, it gives this whole movie a story that we could build blocks upon as we go into this movie. So I thought that was absolutely great, and I loved it.
Yeah, dude. And I think I'm not exactly sure. Brett, maybe you'll have a better idea because I can't remember details like this. I'm not exactly sure where the chapter breaks are. I feel like chapter 2 starts around this point, which is Empty Devils. It might be a little bit later, but either way, it cuts ahead to 2011. Yeah, after we get introduced to the kid version of Danny and everything like that.
Sorry, I got the notes here too with all the chapter stuff and all that. We're still in chapter 1.
Okay, cool.
When we go into 2011.
So Danny, we found out when he was a kid, he can lock these ghosts, like the bathroom lady and stuff, into lock. And that's another thing Dick was telling him. He can lock the shit in his brain and lock them up so they're not going to be a problem anymore. So that's just what he's been doing. And then we cut ahead to adult ass Danny when he is like pretty much at rock bottom, dude. He is freaking putting down the booze on the reg. I mean, doing everything his dad used to do. We see that, pretty much a broken man at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very broken man. And I kind of glad that they took Danny Boy for this character in this particular route. So because it kind of actually gives us that visual of like what Jack Torrance did in The Shining, because we never really got we heard stories, but we didn't see like actual scenes of him getting drinking and getting messed up. So I love how they just let like Mike Flanagan just shows us with Danny Boy here.
Yeah, dude, you can see him. He's like, he's got that anger. He's got the booze. He's got all that fun stuff. And, he sleeps with this girl. She throws up in the bed and all this stuff is kind of what happens. It's a one-night stand situation. She's like passed out, dead. I don't know what she is at this point. But either way, he's like taking her cash on the way out. Dick shows up. He's like, man, put the girl's money back and all this stuff and whatnot. But then he ends up just freaking bouncing, peacing out. And then, moving, he ends up changing locations, but we have some time in between where we get to see the True Knot kind of grow and and interact with their people. We get the introduction to Andy, Snakebite Andy, at the theater as well.
Yes, and with kind of like her, the shining ability, and that's the other thing I love a lot about this movie is we go into more detail of what exactly the shining is and how the shining is different for particular people, which I also love. I love how not everybody has the same shining ability, and of course, this is played by Emily, Lind, I believe that's her name. I know it's Emily for starters. But yeah, I'm glad she was a part of this movie because I think she is a really talented young actress.
Yeah, she was really good. So she's taking like freaking creepy ass dudes to the theater that like to hit on the young ladies, and she's snake biting their ass, so they're marked for life essentially. But essentially, she tells them to do something, they do it. It's like a Jedi mind trick. It's pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, I love seeing this.
SBC actually brought up a good point I wanted to point out. Dan drinks to suppress his shine. I never really honestly thought about that before. I thought he was just trying to like drink like the pain and all that away. But that is actually also a really strong point too, that he drinks to suppress his shine.
Yeah, I feel like I can't remember if he actually mentioned that or not, but yeah, that's a good point. At the end, yeah, that's really because he's done with it at this point in his life. He doesn't want to shine anymore, and whatnot. And so, yeah, that's just kind of where he's at. And what I really like about Ewan McGregor's performance is he does a great job both playing the freaking rock bottom version of Danny and then the kind of redemption version later in the movie. Both sides he nails perfectly.
Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah, they absolutely nailed it with him. And then after that, meeting Snakebite, Danny is heading to Fraser, New Hampshire. That's where he moves to. And just the last note, I think we could dive into chapter 2. We keep getting slow, like, introductions to young Abra and how she is a youngling. Which is kind of funny. If we get freaking Obi-Wan in this, and he's training this youngling and the power of her shine. And she's doing a bunch of magic tricks with freaking spoons. So I'm like, okay, well, first off, her name is Abra. Is she a Pokemon? I need to ask that right now. Is she a Pokemon?
I think so, man. I think she is. Yeah,
And will
most
she
definitely.
evolve to a Kadabra? And then after that, do we have to trade her so she can evolve to Alakazam?
I think you're right on, man. I mean, that's the only
Yes.
way to really truly face Charizard. You got to go through that progression.
Man, fuck Charizard. Team Blastoise all the way. But anyways, we're not here to talk about Pokemon. We're here to now go into officially, we're going into chapter 2 now.
Yeah. Okay. So let me get the little thing, the Bob here, man. Yeah. Chapter 2, we're going. Empty Devils is the name of it. Yeah. Awesome stuff. So yeah, I mean, at this point, we get the introduction to Abra, like you said, the Snakebite and Rose thing. Rose is talking to she's fulfilling that recruitment to Snakebite, trying to get her to join the True Knot, saying, "Hey, you can stay young forever, at least for the most part. You're going to age very slowly if you join us. We're going to give you all kinds of opportunities to grow and do your thing." Danny shows up to New Hampshire, like he moves up there, and he's going to be hanging out with his boy that we're going to be talking about. Billy is another big character in this movie. He goes up there, meets him, kind of gets a job. Dude gets him a room at this place and stuff like that. So that was kind of cool. And yeah, that was a good step forward for his character.
Yeah, and I really like the Billy character. Man, I should put up my letterbox right now. I'll do it the next time you talk, so if there's anybody else we need to address. But I really liked Billy. I thought he did a solid job. Like the actor did a solid job with his character, and just being kind of like that supporting role for the Danny Torrance character.
Yeah, dude, that was really good. Yeah, he's been in a few things. I know he was in one of the Walking Dead shows and a few other little things like that. He's always a fun. He's a good character actor, and he did a great job in this. But yeah, so Danny's he's in his new room now. He's having a good time. He's moved on, like he's doing good things. He's still drinking at this point, but that's until he wakes up one night. He starts to shine. He sees that woman he slept with early in the movie, and then the kid that was at her apartment basically kind of pop up in this apparition, and they're like, "Hey, you left my mom for dead, and now I'm dead because she's nobody could take care of me," kind of thing. Really creepy shit, really dark as fuck, and that's really that turning point for Danny that puts him over the edge to put away the booze for good and turn into a new man.
Yeah, and man, those first off, that scene kind of scared not only just scared me a little bit, but also just made me extremely uncomfortable. And that's something we're going to really understand. Like with this movie really challenges you on a comfortable, like to make you uncomfortable.
Yeah, dude, because that was really unsettling. That was really unsettling. It goes places, man. That's like that classic Stephen King kind of dark ass shit that we're getting here, and this is a good. Again, that's the point. That's the point where Danny goes up to Billy's room, and he's like, "Dude, I need help." So he does. He goes and he meets Mr. Dalton, I believe is his name, at AA, played by the dude that's in Gerald's Game and a few other things. He came back for this. To help out Flanagan.
Then they had that nice conversation. And what kind of room, Brad?
They do. They have this freaking basically a job interview in the exact same fucking interview room that Jack Torrance was in back in 1980. It is the exact room. It's not literally the exact room because this is not in the Overlook, but the room itself is exactly the same. And what this is telling to us as an audience is the fact that Danny right now is in the process of going through the exact same steps that Jack did back in 1980. He's going through the same motions. He's getting the same opportunities. He's basically following those exact same footsteps. And it starts right here. He will have an opportunity to go and do something different, but it's, basically him and Jack are starting in the same place, and where they go, how they alter their course will be up to Danny.
Yeah, and as all this is going on too, we actually see kind of like the ritual from the True Knot, kind of like how they like invite like new members like into their group. Actually, I think there it is. There we go. Like, this is kind of like how they do it. It's like what they do is like they kind of, what is it, Brad? Kind of like take her shine and kind of like they kill her. And not only do they like kill her, because it's pretty much just to rub up in a True Knot ball, is out with the old and in with the new. That's like how this whole process is.
Yeah, they're taking the steam. So this is actually they keep the steam. The shining takes a physical presence by the way of the steam. And they take it and they put it in the canisters. They ration it forever. This is actually Violet's steam, the girl from the beginning of the movie, that she gives to Snakebite Andy here. So that was cool. And yeah, it's a cool little process.
Yeah, it's very interesting process. And then it knocks that snake bite out for a couple of days because she wakes up on the beach and all that, and she just feels like a completely different person and all that. And again, you just gotta keep feeding, man. That's the only way you can keep that internal beauty.
Feed the beast, man. And we'll find out here in a little bit. They're running low on steam and they're going to have to do some stuff to kind of keep that up. A couple things I'm going to hit on the chat before I just don't want them to get too far behind. Antonis asked earlier, can't remember if the hotel in Dr. Sleep was built on a soundstage or the same location as 1980. It was built on a soundstage for sure.
Very impressive.
And yeah, it worked out. It worked tremendously. And then Aaron Click talking about the scene we talked about earlier. Yeah, nothing's off limits with good old Stephen King making you uncomfortable.
Exactly. And then, yeah, since kind of Rose the Hat's on screen, I'll read Brother Flood's lovely comment saying, I would let Rose the Hat suck the life out of me, and not like she did in the movie. Brother Flood, you behave yourself, my friend.
Freaking dirty mofo, but in a good way. Horhead's in the house.
Speaking of mofos.
Horhead's in the house. She said the True Knot are scary mofos. Yes, they are. They are.
Yeah, and what's going on, Heather? I appreciate you joining us right now. We know the Cowboys are playing. She's a Cowboys fan.
Oh yeah, dude. Thanks for hopping in then whilst that is going on. Birdie, are we in this? Are we still in this chapter 2, or have we moved on to chapter 3 yet?
We are on the chapter 3 now, my friend.
Little Spy is the name of it. Now I think
this was 8 years later.
Yes, it jumps ahead 8 years later. I can't remember if this is this might have been before the time jump, but we see this. We basically get the title of the movie of Dr. Sleep because Danny's now working at this kind of nursing home, and he can basically see when people are about to die because a cat will go in the room or whatever, and he'll go in there and kind of just make sure they have a peaceful death kind of deal. It's cool. It's neat. It pays off later. But yeah, what I really like is once they make this 8-year time jump, we get this freaking epic, dude. Awesome, fantastic, freaking. I don't remember how long it was, but it's one take, uncut monologue by Ewan McGregor while he's at AA, and it takes us all the way back to Jack. He's sitting here. He's kind of humanizing Jack Torrance, even the asshole one from Stanley Kubrick's movie. Given that moment, he's here. He's 8 years sober. He takes this little challenge coin. He's like, this is something that my dad could never do, and here I am holding this coin. It's a very emotional moment. It's a great monologue. They only did 2 takes for it too because Ewan McGregor's a fucking boss, and yeah, it was a really good moment.
No, dude, it was such a good moment too. Really moving, just because again they are just like want you to feel for Danny, not on just like from emotional attachment. That's what my Flanagan was just trying to do with this particular scene. It's just to make you emotionally attached to the Danny character, because in real life there are people like what Danny Torrance has gone through with alcohol and all that, and to overcome alcoholism. So this was like a really great scene that Mike Flanagan directed.
Yeah, this really, you see some shades of damn Midnight Mass in there as well, kind of stuff like that. Just really good stuff. I really enjoyed it. Chris Snyder popped in the house real quick, just saying, hey, welcome to the party. Hit that poll below, and if you make it back later, we're gonna have another poll for the letter grade that this movie deserves. So check that out once we get towards the end of the movie.
Yeah, and Chris Dangummit, watch the movie, because I've been telling you for months now for you to watch this movie. So damn it, watch it. It's worth it.
Oh yeah, dude, absolutely. I missed that part where you haven't seen it, but yeah, dude, check it out for sure. But yeah, so we jump. Now we see this little kid playing baseball. They're in Iowa now. There's this guy named Jake.
This scene.
Oh, dude, I know, it's so fucking crazy. Jacob Tremblay is the actor. You've seen him in a few other Flanagan projects, Until I Wake or whatever that one was, with the what's her name in it, one of his earlier movies, and he's done some other stuff.
And he's done a comedy movie with the 3 boys and all that, and they get in trouble and all that. Like, holy crap.
Yes, dude. They're playing. So at this baseball park, he's out here crushing home runs and shit, like doing his thing, like absolutely destroying the game. There's actually a cameo from Danny Lloyd in this scene, the original actor that played Danny,
the baseball
Torrance.
inspector.
Yes. So that was cool. But yeah, he's out there tearing it up, and then he's walking home, dude, and it's playing this unnerving, freaking really uncomfortable score, man. He's walking home in these Iowa freaking cornfields all by himself. Not a good decision. I don't know who let this kid do this, but nonetheless, he was doing it. is playing the shining heartbeat score at this point. That boom, 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 while he's walking down the street, just making you feel freaking on your edge of your damn seat, man.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and that's when Snakebite comes out of the van and kind of uses her power, the Shining, to influence his mind. Which we kind of didn't really touch upon that. That Snakebite's ability is to kind of like kind of like a good old fashioned Jedi mind trick. In a way, she says something to a non-Shining, and they have to and they pretty much do what they ask her. Pretty much anytime she can pretty much say, "These aren't the droids that you're looking for," and then they'll pretty much say, "These are not the droids that we are looking for." And in this case, she tells our baseball player here that come in the fan, hang out with us, and he goes, "I will come in the fan. I will hang out with you." And that was absolutely a poor choice. But again, you can't help it because you know she's using her power, and his free will was taken away at this point.
Yeah, dude. Very dark scene. Kid gets abducted, and it kicks off the darkest scene in this movie, and the darkest scene in a lot of movies. This shit that's about to happen in this movie makes Pennywise look like he is at a circus, and he's having a good time, and he's juggling hot dogs, and he's having a fun time, because this shit is dark as fuck. So they take this kid to this fucking back parking lot thing. They freaking strap him down to the ground, and he's all like crying. The performance here by Jacob Tremblay is what does it. I mean, it sells everything. And the kid was so excited to do this. Like, he was pumped up. He goes out here. They strap him down. He's all like, "Oh, are you going to hurt me?" And Rose is like, yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to hurt you pretty bad," or whatever she said. It was pretty iconic. But they just freaking dig into this little kid. And again, the screen, the shots doesn't show anything, but the performance we get from Jacob Tremblay here is, yeah, I mean, it's borderline traumatic. I think Flanagan said the cast around him that day was traumatized by his performance. It was so convincing. The pain that he was presenting to us and all that stuff was so intense that the cast was all fucked up. For Rebecca Ferguson was all fucked up, but then she's like, "You know what? I can't let this little fucker freaking outshine me in this movie," is what she told Flanagan, because she was getting outacted at that point, and she was on top of her game too, kicking ass. So it was really, really freaking intense, man. And this is the scene right here. Again, this is what we see.
Yeah, and we are keeping this PG because it gets a lot worse than this picture does. And like, again, I'm not sure if it's like because if it's the director's cut, because I don't ever remember in the theater being this freaking brutal. So if it is a director's cut, adding that extra footage of him being tortured and all that, it works for this. I know it's super uncomfortable just because a child is involved, but damn, was this scene effective of like possibly one of the most uncomfortable scenes of all time in horror movie history for me. And also with this particular scene, this is a part of the movie where most people like either left the theater or they really tuned out this movie and they don't give this movie praise. The praise that is missing.
Yeah, and this is the scene right here. This is Stephen King wrote this, but he said this was too much. This was too much for Stephen King himself because of the
don't write it,
performance.
Stephen.
Because of the performance, and it doesn't even show anything. It's all in the kids acting, and it's so compelling, and it's so good, and it's so just freaking crazy. Flanagan said that, like I said, the cast was traumatized, that people were dropping their cameras, like it was just fucked up. And then Tremblay gets up after the scene, and he goes and gives his dad a high five because he's freaking pumped about all the good work he did. And everybody else is just sitting there, they're all shaken up, and he's all stoked up because he just rocked it out of the park. So he was actually having a good time. But dude, the True Knot's like literally digging into his body, like ripping him to shreds, soaking up his steam as it comes out with each dying breath. And yeah, dude, it's really fucked up.
Dude, so fucked up. And plus, the reason they're doing this too is because like fear and pain are the two big things that draw the steam out of a shiner's body. And of course, they need to feed because when they feed off that shining, they keep their internal, like kind of like internal life and all that. So that's why they're very desperate, and they are literally going out, and this is the True Knots, going out and hunting these people with the shining ability. I want to read some of these comments if you don't mind, Brad, because
dude,
a lot of people are talking about this scene. Aaron Click saying, I feel tears. This is from earlier with the AA meeting. I feel tears well up in my eyes a lot in the parts of Danny comforting the dying nursing home residents. Oh yeah, and that too. Just because again, they were trying to establish that emotional relationship between Danny and the viewer. So I love the scenes like that. Gory Tiger saying this scene is kind of hard to watch, dude. Absolutely. Like I even paused it just to take me a little break. And then Veronica saying the baseball scene is truly disturbing. Aaron Cook again saying, for a mainstream film, they go pretty far with the baseball kid's death. It's drawn out and brutal, and even through there's not a ton of gore. Yeah, exactly. It's just like little splashes of blood, but again, like Brad alluded to, we didn't need to see it just because the kid was selling his ass off for this thing.
Oh yeah, dude, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and Heather's comment as well, saying the fact that making him and paying to make the shine stronger was terrible. That kid actor sold it. Had to look away at that scene. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, dude, for sure. And the way that this is when we see Abra's kind of looking in at them as well. It kind of cuts back to her. It's kind of becoming her story now. She's seeing what they're doing and like in bursts, and she's getting so freaked out in her bed where she's screaming and stuff. She literally makes Danny's wall explode with the red rum in the middle of the night because of all the stuff that she's going through, seeing this and whatnot. So hence the name of the chapter, Little Spy. She's spying in on the True Knot. And they pick up on it while it's going on. And, they see that there's this girl that's so powerful. She's seeing this happen and she's got so much steam. And now Abra is going to be their next potential suspect or victim.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And then the term that they use, what Abra is doing, like spying on the True Knots, is called a looker. Which again kind of makes sense because you're looking in onto what's going on. But yeah, and only Rose the Hat sensed it. Like nobody else in the family knew what was going on. The Crow kind of suspects something was going on, but he didn't know. But Rose, because again they're trying to show how powerful she is, that she can sense a shining across like a looker, and all that. So yeah, we established that Abra is now a little older. She's stronger. And yeah, we're about to dive into chapter 4 because now we're getting like to the part where Rose the Hat's playing, and we just learn more about the Abra character and what she's been doing.
Hell yeah. Chapter 4, Turn World is the name of it. I did want to go back and get Flamethrower's comment about the AA scene speaks to anyone who has gone through recovery. Absolutely. It's interesting because Stephen King, obviously Stephen King himself went through the same recovery process. A lot of his movies kind of include that, but he wrote The Shining when he was in the midst of alcoholism and using drugs heavily. And he wrote Dr. Sleep after several years of recovery. And he's been sober for several years. So you can see that in the writing in both of these novels, how in the Shining movie, or in the story, I guess it's more writing about, being afraid of what this might do to you, the drinking and whatnot. And then Dr. Sleep many years down the road is, being able to recover and being able to rise above it and, doing those things. And yeah, it was really good. And Flanagan also, apparently, I don't know if he was like an alcoholic, but he said that he just became sober when he started making this movie as well. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and that's awesome that they were able to overcome, just kind of like how Danny overcome in the movie. And before we go into chapter 4, I looked. This is Nick Cooling. What's going on, Nick? Saying, hey guys, Rose the Hat is one of my favorite villains. Dr. Sleep is such an amazing film. Dude, abso-freaking-lutely it is.
Oh yeah, dude. Absolutely. She's so good.
Oh, yeah. So damn good. And just so intriguing as a character, too. But yeah, Brad, freaking go to chapter 4. Turn World is what this chapter is called. And this is where Abra finds Danny Boy.
Yeah, dude. And this is after all that stuff that just happened really just set the tone. It really set the danger of the True Knot, establishes the threat of them. And at this point, we're kind of moving on to the two kind of starting to rise above that. So we see that, in this next part, Abra's kind of tapping into The Shining. She's getting more details of the murder. She's trying to figure out who the victim was and stuff like that, who the Jacob Tremblay kid was, the baseball kid. She spies on Rose at the grocery store while she's there buying a bunch of random shit, Bud Light, all kinds of fun stuff. And this is when Rose finally kind of sees how powerful Abra really is, the fact that she's able to kind of spy in on her like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely, dude. And spying on that, and then that's when again Abra finds good old Danny Boy.
Yes.
Oh yeah, this freaking scene, yeah, because this scene is really damn good too. Because Abra's trying to get like into Rose's mind because she's trying to figure out where the baseball boy kid is at.
Yes, exactly. And Rose is like, damn, man. She gets blown away back from the thing. And she's like, man, this Abra girl is like, she's the white whale. She's the one we need. She's got to fix our steam problem right now because we're running low and all that stuff. And meanwhile, Abra, she does go to New Hampshire and she meets up with Danny. This is the same bench earlier that Dick and Danny were talking on when he was younger. It's a different location, but the bench is the same. And it's the same. This is the same scene. It's a mirrored version of that. Now Danny's the older person, and Abra's here trying to get help. Trying to tell him about the true knot and the dangers they're presenting and all this stuff. And he's not really having it at this point.
No, because he's just trying to keep on the down low, just trying to, live the quiet, happy life and all that. And he doesn't want to help anybody. He wants nothing to do with The Shining. He's only using The Shining for his nursing job and all that, or like the nursing job and all that. And Abra's really disappointed. But again, she is a kid, so kids are, freaking strong-headed. So she continues on with her plan to try to take down the true knots with or without Danny's help.
Yeah, and this, like, Danny at this point is to her what Tony was to Danny in The Shining, essentially at this point. But yeah, so Danny then goes into Danny runs into Dick when he's working at the nursing home after this encounter. And Dick's like, you know what? This is the last time we're gonna hang out. Like, I'm good to go. Like, I'm gone. Like, no more ghost Dick showing up here. But he's like, you're gonna have to go help the girl, Danny, is what he's saying to her at this point. You're gonna have to be there for her. You're gonna have to help her out. And basically that's what he wants to do at this point.
Yeah, because again, like we referred it back into chapter 1 that Dick told Danny that it's time for you to give back, kind of like how I gave back to you. That's pretty much what he was telling, like, for his last message before Dick disappears forever. But this time around, he really makes an impact on Danny, and Danny's like, yeah, I'm a changed man, and I need to keep continuing to do good things and to stay committed to that change. So that is officially when Danny joins Abra's team.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. That was really good. And we have this scene too where Rose is now trying to figure out more about Abra, and she's going to try to spy on Abra's ass. So she does this whole meditation thing on the top of her bus and stuff like that, and she floats away, man. This is her, like, in her mind meditating, and it's a really cool scene that they put together here. A lot of good special effects. She pops into Abra's bedroom. This is all, like, in their mind, of course. Tries to get some shit, but we find out that Abra's actually there. She's putting a damn this is actually the scene from earlier, but she's putting a damn trap in place for her so she can actually learn more about Rose and this whole thing. She gets blown off the top of the truck. It's really cool, but it's setting up this epic battle between two powerful freaking people, man.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the thing I wanted to mention about this scene too is kind of like how Rose the Hat kind of like organizes her mind with the filing cabinets, because dude, legit, that's how my photographic memory works. Because I put like things in a particular file and I look like searching my brain. All right, is this file from this year, this circumstance? Like, I legit felt that thing. I thought it was that scary. I was like, damn, they really went into my freaking mind of how I organize things. As an
cool.
OCD person.
Yeah, it was neat, man. And what's cool too is a little callback here when Rose lands at the house that Abra lives at. The address of the house is 1980, which is the year The Shining came out. So that was a cool.
I didn't catch up on that. Good find.
That was a cool little sequence there.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's when and you know how she got knocked off the truck. That is with the freaking the old man. And this is a very important scene too, because they haven't explained, like, they explained what happens when you get the you feed off the shine and you stay internal. But we're at this point now where again, this is very important. They explain what happens when you don't eat the shine and you don't keep your eternal life, because the old man gets it.
Oh yeah, dude. Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's a very important scene that I wanted to throw out there before we continue, because that is such an important scene, and you kind of like know more about why they're doing the things that they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this kind of sets off the thing. Are we still in the same? Yeah, we're still in Turn World.
Yeah, we are close to chapter 5, because now we're at the point where Danny is in a car ride going to Abra's house, and he tells Abra to tell her dad exactly what's going on, and the dad is not happy. And this is also Bailey joins in on the journey too.
Yeah, because prior to that, Danny goes to Billy. He said, "Hey, man, I need some help. Do you trust me? Like, it's going to sound crazy." And he does because Billy's a good friend. They've established a good friendship at this point. The two of them, after following Abra's instructions, they go to the place where the baseball boy was killed. They're going to try to get the glove that was buried with the kid that Abra saw, so she can get a better reading on it and find out more about where the True Knot's at. So they drive out there together, and this scene is fantastic. Really good score. Again, we get that heartbeat, classic Shining score. They get out there. There's some fantastic dialogue between Billy and Danny as they do find the body of the baseball boy, and it is, it's a great thing where Billy provides a great little monologue here about when he was hunting as a kid and he killed a deer, and the deer ran off and survived, but then a few days later he smelled it. He's like, I never picked up a gun again after that, and now I'm smelling that scent again here. It was really scary. They find the body, they throw up. It's a really creepy sequence, all lit in headlights out there in the middle of the night. But they get the glove from that scene, and then they head to Abra's place so she can do her thing.
Yeah, and she did her thing, and she figured out like True Knot where they are located. In fact, they are on their way to her house, and then that is where they decide to formulate a plan, and that is where we go into chapter 5.
Parlor tricks, dude. And so they do have a plan. They're going to this place. They're going to get their shit together. They go to the house of Abra. They meet with the dad. He's not liking where this is going. He starts down in whiskey once Abra shows him that the abilities that he has, at this point, and all that. It's really good. But then they get this plan to go to this place to kind of set a trap for the True Knot. And it's a nice little trick. They go out to this desolate kind of looks like a campground. And at this point, there's a sense of urgency kind of taken over, because at this point, we know the True Knot's on their ass, and we know that they got to act fast in order to get out ahead of it. So that's really good. So they go out to this campground or whatever. This is a cool little fun fact right here. As Danny and Billy go into that campground, Danny's driving the car. Flanagan actually uses the same audio from the Shining movie as when Danny was riding the trike around the hospital. He changes it up a little bit. He changes the pitch and all that stuff, but he took that audio track and put it in as they cross the bridge to go into this campground, which is cool because Danny's driving, but now he's doing it with a car.
Dude. Just, man, in my Flanagan, we trust, man. Just like the attention to detail.
Oh, yeah, dude. It's so cool. And at this point, like, we think Abra's with them because she's kind of like in the back seat. And then they go up and like the True Knot shows up out there and they do their thing and they stab this. They try to put Abra to sleep.
Snakebite tried to like use her shining on Abra and all that, and she kind of like plays along, but she is like under control and all that, and she stabs her with it like what was the drug called? I can't remember what the drug was called.
Thuracine.
Yeah, Thoracine and all that. And then that's when we realized that Abra just was playing mind tricks on Snakebite, and it was a freaking teddy bear. And then we get some freaking Call of Duty action going on.
Fuck yeah.
Parlor tricks, just fucking parlor tricks.
Yeah, dude. Rose ain't even there. She's back at camp because she didn't want to be a distraction. She got her wrist hurt during the last encounter too. But she's feeling the impact of this. Mm-hmm. They just set a freaking trap for the ages against the True Knot. They start shooting down with all these hunting rifles and stuff, blowing them away. Rose is back at camp, feeling every freaking bit of impact there. She's like, you saw her in the clip just now. It's really effective, and it's pretty freaking awesome too to see them get some redemption on these people. Like, you got Billy up there with the scope, Danny's there as well. They're just picking them off one by one, man.
Oh, dude, it was so badass. And speaking of freaking Rose, we got one of our regulars here of Rosie. What's going on? And just, I know the picture's up, but trust me, I am handing you your rose as always. So thank you, Rosie, for joining us. But yeah, dude, this was actually my favorite scene in the entire movie. Like, when I first saw this movie in theaters, this was my absolute favorite scene because it was, to me, a big holy shit moment. Just because, again, we just add another layer of Abra's power and all that, and the True Knot actually gets freaking tricked, and I loved it.
They do, man. They take out almost every member of the True Knot, almost being the key word, because they do shoot Andy, the snakebite Andy, in the neck. Mm-hmm. They blow her away, but she's still alive, just long enough to tell Billy to kill himself, and that's exactly what he does, dude.
Dude, that was so damn sad.
It was, dude, man. I did not see them doing that shit. It was very emotional. I didn't like it because Billy was my boy and I liked him. But man, it was pretty freaking gnarly though. It was an interesting way to get him killed. And you know what? It allows our people to have this big moment and take out most of the True Knight, but it did not come without sacrifice. Something had to happen for them to do that. The True Knight still got to win at the end of the day, and they took out a portion of Danny's alliance.
Yeah, Aaron Clip brings up a good point. Say, yeah, you're really rooting for Danny and company to get him during that scene. Yeah, dude, I was at the theater. I was like, yeah, like let's go, like let's get these True Knot bastards. And then again, like just when you're so excited that again the freaking storytelling, man, they freaking just pull you a step back with Snake by getting the last bite. Haha.
Yeah, dude.
And then freaking Billy got a freaking god, and that again is so damn sad. But again, they were just trying to teach you like this is a freaking battle, man, a battlefield, and there are going to be casualties.
Yeah, and it was a battle for sure, man. You know, you win some, you lose some. There was a little bit. Meanwhile, Abra's back at her real house. She was doing this projection thing, like we saw Luke Skywalker do that one time. And the Crow actually thinking, you know, he's thinking with his head. He wasn't there with the rest of the True Knot getting some asses waxed. He shows up at the house. He actually he kills Abra's dad, which that was a scene that was added in the director's cut because we didn't see that interaction between them two at all. And I thought that was important. I wish they would have kept that in the theatrical cut because we just kind of cut to him being dead on the floor. That was a creepy sequence. But anyway, he does drug her ass, abducts her, takes her out, puts her in the back of the car, and they ride off together to take her to the, you know, to Rose essentially to do her thing.
Yeah, and then this is where we get to see Danny actually going back to Fraser, New Hampshire, because he's freaking panicking at this point. Like he is like so messed up. It's like, damn, we lost his battle. I lost Abra. He almost took a drink, and then he breaks the damn bottle, which I possibly wouldn't have done that myself because it's a nice bottle. You might need it in the future. But freaking Danny just smashes it, and then he does. He barely gets a glimpse of Abra, and this is where we actually get the introduction of Danny's power of the Shining being used at full force too now, where he takes over Abra's body and freaking just gained the Crow, man. And I thought that scene was amazing.
Here's a fun little fact for you. So when they did this scene, they actually had Ewan McGregor do the scene first. They had him sit in the back seat. They had him kind of be abducted, and then that way the actor doing that was Abra could go in and imitate what Danny was actually doing. So that was really cool. So that way she had his mannerisms and stuff like that. So that was cool little fun fact. Now, guys, 8 people in the chat, be sure to hit that yes or no poll we have going on right now if you like this movie, because here pretty soon we're going to change it to the letter grade so you guys can get your letter grade in for the movie. So just a heads up, last chance to vote on this poll and hang around a little bit longer for the next one. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, because we're about to enter chapter 6, and that is when I will change the poll. So get those votes in if you have not.
Yes. But yeah, Danny takes over Abra, dude, and he fucking does this thing. He's like, because Danny's powerful. He's got his thing going on. He's getting shit going on. And he basically, he notices that Mr. Crow here isn't buckled up.
Yeah, man. Why was he not buckled up?
Because he doesn't drive safely. Danny now, he's got the blue eyes, or Abra's got the blue eyes because it's Danny back there. Ends up making the car crash essentially with his little powers, and then fucking Crow goes flying out the damn windshield, and he dies like a mofo. He does the thing, like their bodies like shrivel up and stuff when they die, and we got to see him do that. And Rose fell to death, and she freaking loses it, which was awesome because he was the last remaining member of the Knot.
Oh, yeah, and then we get a great scene. There's a picture of it you have on here. Let me find it real quick. This encounter right here. Rose is pissed. But you know what? Abra was not faced by it. She walks right past her. And dude, this was the first line, Rosa has says in this particular scene goes, "You bitch." Dude, the tone just shifts in a whole nother way in this film that has not gone to yet. And Rose is pissed and she declares war on Abra. And so what she does is she sucks up all of the shine that she has in all the containers she owns. And so now this is like ultra power Rose the Hat. And dude, it's a scary sight.
Oh, yeah, dude. We're getting set up for a showdown for the ages of 2 of the strongest shiners of all time. And yeah, man, that's when it kind of kicks off. Danny and Abra get together. They're like, they're driving off at this point and they're talking. And Danny's like, "There's this place when I was a child." And and it's been forgotten and all this stuff. It shines like no other, and it's a place we need to go because I think the spirits there will kind of help us win this battle and stuff like that. But that's when it kicks off, man. That's when it fucking kicks off.
Oh, yeah, it is. So I'm going to officially end the poll now and get that new poll up because we are about to enter the third act here. Brad, did you want me to tell you the results or save?
You can. Yeah, I am interested what the results are of that poll.
Sure, I'm taking me a quick picture real quick to save for notes. So for us to hear, out of 18 votes, Brad, 83% of people said yes, they do like Dr. Sleep, while 16% said no, they did not like Dr. Sleep.
Okay, so that's going to be the first half of the fan score. That's going to be 83%, which is honestly almost right in line with the Rotten Tomatoes thing. So that's kind of surprising, but that's cool.
Yeah,
I
so
think
let me go ahead and get this in here, Brad. If there's anything in the comic section you want to address.
Let me see. Gory Rose. Yeah, not really, just saying that's a cool scene. And Lamontre's here saying Gory, my dude. And then yeah, we got girls 69 in here too that we're gonna get.
Oh gosh. Yeah, I'm a freaking bot. So let's see here. Okay, I got this pull up now. So this is where again we need your all's help because we want to hear your voice because you get your own deal going on here now too. So that poll is officially up. Go vote away, and yeah, Brad, let's freaking dive into the last part of this deal. Freaking chapter 6. Because this is the part now where if you are a big fan of 1980s The Shining, this is where the movie gets interesting for you.
It is, because what we do is we go into the final chapter of this, which is chapter 6, What Was Forgotten. Which is epic because it plays this classic. Oh, I know, man. I love it. I'll take it a step farther and let you know that first shot that was there, the one over the water, was the actual same shot from The Shining 1980. That literal, like the actual shot, they just added snow to it. They did some some post work to it, but they used the exact same footage they used in the movie. But that was really cool.
Dude, it just, first off, that score just gave everything about that, just at this point, just gave me major chill bumps. Just because, again, I love The Shining and how they just throw everything shining at you at this point. Like, they give you like little snippets throughout the movie, but this is where they just go straight up hardcore. Like, you better, like, if you love The Shining, we're about to throw a lot of shining at you. And they did throw a lot, but I feel like they didn't throw too much where like it just gets distracting and it takes away from Dr. Sleep, because this movie was still Dr. Sleep.
Dude, it gives me chills. The way that's presented earlier in Abra and Danny's car ride when they're together, you could, like, the closer they get to the hotel, the more snow starts to fall. You see a couple little drizzles while they're like getting gas, and then like they go on this main road that heads out to the overlook, and it's a fucking blizzard. You see it come up in the horizon, and it feels surreal, man. It's goosebump inducing. It's so nostalgic. It's done so well. The attention to detail here is fantastic. It is fan service for sure, absolutely, but it's done so well because, like you said, it does not detract from the rest of this movie. It adds to it.
No, dude, it definitely adds to it. So we get all those beautiful and classic shots, and then bam, they officially arrived at the Overlook Hotel. And dude, again, it's just freaking amazing, dude. Like, just all of this. Like, I thought about you as like they got to the hotel and the lights come on and everything. I just knew you were grinning like wider than the Chester Cat.
Oh, dude, I was so pumped. And I get more pumped every time I watch this, man. It's such a good companion. Look at the detail here. It's so perfect. It's a boarded up, abandoned overlook, which, fun fact, at the end of the Shining novel, this is where we get some discrepancies. The end of the Shining novel, the hotel goes down in flames. Jack sacrifices himself to bring the hotel down. But so obviously they changed the ending of Dr. Sleep. In the book, Dr. Sleep, they go to basically the grave site where the overlook used to be, where it's in shambles and stuff.
Right.
I'll get into why Stephen King was down for this change here in a minute, but Abra stays outside. Danny goes inside to wake the place up, and he just got to go in there and shine, and it shines right here. Brett, man, I put the screenshot in here for one damn reason. You know what it is just by looking at the picture?
Let me get a good look. Is that the spot where the freaking butler, like the ghost butler, was there when Wendy saw him?
It is, but this is him on the way to the gold room, and that mirror to the right there is the mirror from Oculus.
Oh, what the fuck? So you're
Little
telling me
cameo.
that they're all screwed, that Oculus is now, they not only they got to deal with Rosa Hat, not only do they have to deal with the Overlook Hotel spirits, well, most of those spirits are trapped in a tiny lockbox, but now you're telling me that they got to deal with the Oculus mirror?
Fuck yeah, they do, man. They
Dude,
do.
that's fucking crazy. Good eye, dude.
Well, I learned it from the commentary. It's just
Well,
a little
I know,
comic book
but it's still badass.
but yeah, it was cool as fuck. But this is so he takes the same path that Danny did or Jack did in The Shining. He's walking down to the gold room. He goes in. He sits at the bar. There's a fucking whiskey glass sitting there waiting for him as he approaches this bar. And this is the scene right here. This is what got Stephen King on board to change the ending to his book to bring The Shining to basically to be a sequel to Kubrick's film and change the ending of Dr. Sleep, where they actually do go back to the Overlook. He wasn't on board initially, but when Flanagan pitched this scene right here to him, he was completely on board. And this scene right here actually somewhat salvaged Kubrick's movie for Stephen King. He adores it a little bit more than he ever has before because of this moment.
Mm-hmm. Oh, dude, and this again, we're getting these classic Stanley Kubrick camera angle shots and all that. Pretty much exactly how The Shining did it back when Jack Torrance Jack Torrance went into the gold room. Slow night. Even though Danny did do it, which I appreciate that. I'm glad that we didn't get too in detail of Shining nods. But dude, speaking of freaking Jack. Guess who the bartender freaking was, dude? And this is where it made me again once go, oh shit, things are about to go down.
Yeah, dude, it was none other than Jack Torrance himself, even though he thinks he's good old Lloyd the bartender pouring happiness at the Overlook since 1980. But it is, in fact, Jack Torrance. Again, of course, recasted here, no CGI. Henry Thomas comes in, a Flanagan classic, and he kills the role. He gives that persona, that presence that Jack Torrance did, that Jack Nicholson brought in. He's not necessarily imitating Jack Nicholson, but that persona that he brought to the character, Henry Thomas is actually nailing it here, man.
Yeah, and just in case, Henry Thomas is the little boy from E.T., like the main boy. That's where he is famous from.
Yes, of course. And, all the Flanagan shit as well.
Yeah, of course. So, but dude, I absolutely love this scene just because again it was important because it was like a tug of war battle between Danny and the spirit of the Overlook Hotel. The Overlook Hotel is trying to break Danny, so because again, what they want is to possess Danny's body, and they try to do it with the whole alcohol thing. Yeah, exactly. Just keep on trying to push that alcohol and all that. And Danny just freaking strong-minded. It's like, no, I gotta be sober up if I want to have any chance against Rosa Hat. So you know what? I'll pass. And this is when freaking Jack gets pissed off and tosses that damn whiskey shot right there, which it kind of pissed me off at this point. Not only did we break a nice bottle of scotch, now we're freaking breaking wasting sips.
Yeah, this is once again a moment where Danny finds himself in the exact same path that Jack was in once before. The exact same path. This one might even be even more compelling because it's his own damn dad, and it's not just Lloyd, lemon drops with Lloyd. But this is where we see again Danny succeed where Jack failed. This is the point where, again, this is what sucks Stephen King in. This is good writing. This is what really caps it together. And this scene was extended in the director's cut, so I would highly recommend that cut of the movie. They actually even go back into the bathroom from before, and it was really, just a great sequence where you can see Danny, he's impacted by all this, how he was impacted, and everything that this whole thing with Jack left with him.
Yeah, dude. And I want to get Aaron's Click's comment saying Henry Thomas, even though he doesn't exactly look like Jack Nicholson, brought that essence of Jack Torrance, which I absolutely agree with that. I thought Henry Thomas did a phenomenal job playing that role of Jack Torrance in that movie. And also, Brad, I wanted to kind of allude this because you alluded this to the Shining review about this whole theory about the mirrors. Is that still in play of Dr. Sleep?
Not really, man. At this point, obviously it's still accurate. Danny's seeing ghosts, and every scene he's seeing a ghost, there's mirrors, at least for now. That changes.
Especially the Oculus mirror too.
Yeah, that thing's just that's the reason for all of this madness, I think. But no, I don't think it really applies to this, man.
So hey, it could be.
Oh, the WWE studio. That's great. But yeah, so he's in the bathroom. This is at the point when Rose the Hat's out here. She's ready to show down. She shows up. She comes in. She sees the bloody elevator that we see from The Shining before. This was something that Flanagan didn't really want to do, but the studio required them to put that shot in. So they did it once. They used CGI and they got it done. But it was cool. Danny, she's there. She's confused. And then they all kind of get together in the Colorado Lounge once again for a final showdown, dude. Jack and Abra versus Rose the Hat, man.
Dude, and this battle, this whole third act, this is where like shit gets like it's about to go down. Absolutely loved from this point on, loved everything they did with the third act. Like the battle between Abra and Danny against Rose, and then even what happened after that, which we'll get into detail here in a little bit. But dude, this battle scene was absolutely incredible to watch. It was from visually too, because you got this sucker on 4K, Brad, don't you?
Oh, dude, yeah, and it looks
yeah, dude.
marvelous.
I would have loved to watch this sing on 4K.
Yeah, everything. This is one of the best 4Ks I have. Honestly, it looks so good. But yeah, they do this thing where the Abra try to trap Rose in all these boxes. Like they're basically playing mind games with Rose the Hat at this point. Abra is trying to get her in this maze. This is the maze from out front, but they're kind of in their mind at the same time. They're trying to lock her ass away because they're actually in Danny's head at this point. Doesn't work because Rose the Hat's a genius. She gets out of that. Abra runs off, and they have this showdown. Basically with Jack and Abra, with Rose the Hat, where she's approaching him on the stairs, and they recreate the scene perfectly from The Shining when Jack is falling Wendy up the stairs and she's got the bat. Now Danny is Wendy, but he's got the axe, and Rose the Hat is filling the shoes of Jack Torrance. And it's basically, from the way it's shot, the character mannerisms, everything is a perfect replica of that original scene. So really cool callback.
Dude, it's such an incredible callback too, and that's when Danny tried to swing the axe over at Rose, and Rose kind of like got the pointy end of the axe and stabbed it in Danny's leg, which, guess what? That's a nod to freaking Jack Torrance when he was limping. And this is causing the limping effect that we see from Danny later on, too. And she takes advantage of that injury to get Danny shine. And dude, she was, I thought Danny was fucked at this point, that we were going to just get Abra versus Rose the Hat at this point. But then this is when freaking Danny has one more trick up his sleeve.
Yeah, dude, he gets his freaking femoral artery clipped. Like, we know at this point he's gonna die. But he's at this point where he's he's getting held down and stuff, and he just opens the lockbox of Ghost, man. He unleashes every ghost at the Overlook. They all come out, dude. They freaking suck down Rose the Hat, freaking overpower her ass and take her out. It's really cool sequence. Then they kind of turn on Jack, or on Danny himself at this point, and kind of go through and do the same thing with him. He kind of survives it, but then he kind of turns into Jack Torrance for a little bit and kind of recreates that same sequence at the end where he's running around chasing Abra with an axe now, because he's kind of possessed by these ghosts. And I guess maybe Jack Torrance himself could be one of them. I mean, it makes sense. He's running around saying, "Hey, it's time to take your medicine," and all that fun stuff. And he chases her into room 217 or 237. 237, yeah. 217.
Yeah. And then that's where Abra's trying to get through to Danny. It's like, Danny, like, I know you're in there. Like, you gotta fight it. Like, we gotta get out here together. And then Danny gets control of just a little bit, telling Abra that she needs to get out of here because he finally has to end all of it once and for all. He didn't want Abra to be a part of it. So he sends Abra out of the motel. Because this is before the whole Rose the Hat got there, where they got into the generator room. Danny did, and turned everything on full blast, where you can kind of get this explosion and all that. And then just like when possessed Danny kind of realized that, they tried to go in. And then, Brad, I'll let you carry away with how all this ends, because again, this is your pick. I want you to get that privilege.
Yeah, so starting back in the showdown in 237, when Abra and Danny are talking to each other, this is the ending of The Shining. It's just replacing Abra with Danny, or I'm sorry, replacing
Mm-hmm.
Danny with Abra, and then Jack with Danny. But it's the exact same. This is actually, there's dialogue pulled from the ending of the Shining novel in this scene when they're talking to each other and Abra's trying to save Danny. It was just Danny saying that to Jack in the original novel. So this was another something that Stephen King was really excited about, to finally see his ending put on film to the original Shining novel. And instead of Jack taking the sacrifice and burning down the hotel, it's Danny. It's him going in there and starting that fire and burning down the hotel to its core, and basically sacrificing himself so Abra could be away from it, and it'll be gone for good.
And dude, and the visuals of the whole Overlook Hotel like burning down was so amazing to look at. Because again, that's why I get pissed off. Like you get to watch that beautiful thing in 4K, while I just watch it on like the digital version, which it still looks good. But damn, I can't imagine how great it looked on 4K with the Overlook Hotel burning.
Yeah, dude, it was marvelous. We see a Danny and Wendy, younger version of Danny, actually in there one last time with Wendy, which is really good. It was a nice little moment to kind of send them off, and we had this little kind of almost a epilogue, if you will, with Danny showing up at Abra's as a ghost, and now she's kind of cool now, and like she's doing her thing, and this was kind of setting up, I think, what some of the other ideas they were going to go with the story, but again, we're not going to get it because the movie didn't make any money. But then the movie ends with "Midnight in the Stars for You," which is the same song The Shining plays in the ballroom, which I thought was perfect. And really, yeah, just a perfect freaking sequel to one of the best horror movies of all time.
Oh, dude, it's absolutely one of my favorite sequels to original of all time as well, dude. And yeah, it might actually be the best horror sequel of all time, if you ask me personally.
Dude, it's on the list, man, for sure. It's so far, obviously it's like probably like a 40-year difference or something like that, at least pretty close. I think it was almost 39 years. Yeah, 39 years. But man, it comes in, and I think maybe that's part of the problem why I didn't make any money, is because it was just so far removed. It came out for a different audience that, honestly, I don't know, that I honestly don't know. Maybe they tailored it to the wrong audience. I don't know. But for us as fans
Or
of the
the
original
baseball
movie,
scene.
yeah, there's that. I don't think that really hurt the box office per se, but yeah, I think it's just one of those things that it doesn't really make sense why it failed, but it did, and here we are. But it's still something that I appreciate, and it was my favorite 2019 movie.
Yeah, and we even did like a video on the channel, the most like underrated movies of all time, and I kind of puzzled when you said Doctor Sleep of why it was underrated, because I loved it, but now I understand what you were going for with that underrated, just because with the box office failure and all that a lot of people turned away from Doctor Sleep, as they actually should be watching it, just because if you love The Shining, you will love Doctor Sleep, dude.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure.
And then what's going on, Byron? I saw you in the chat there. What's going on, my friend? So, Brad, yeah, you just want to give overall thoughts, and we'll still give our Good Will Hunting grade and all that as well. Again, if you have not voted yet, be sure to vote, because I'm about to take a look at the poll and do some calculations.
Yeah, dude. Sounds good. So last thoughts on the movie, man. Like I said, I think it's a perfect sequel. I think it really comes in and does the impossible. It blends the book, the novel, and the movie, the Kubrick movie, perfectly. And I think for anybody who's turned away by that Kubrick movie that came out in 1980 because it wasn't like the novel, could probably get some redemption with this movie. They could probably be turned on to it a little bit more because of this movie. It does a really good job of that. And it's a really character-driven movie with some great performances. And it's a movie that I absolutely love. And I think I'm ready here at this point to give it a 5 out of 5.
Nice. Like I stated, I'm probably even going to just say it right now, it is the best horror sequel like to the original of all time in the horror genre. Just because of how smooth the transition is from the original to the sequel, and the sequel again does my sequel rule, it doubles everything. It definitely doubles from The Shining, and I still think I barely have The Shining better than Dr. Sleep, all just because of Jack Nicholson's portrayal of Jack Torrance in The Descent into Madness. That's the only reason why. But man, Dr. Sleep is so damn close to being better than The Shining, but it's not. But I'm with you, Brad. I am on the board now where I'm ready to get this movie as well, a 5 out of 5. So with our 5 out of 5s, this movie is indeed getting the golden reel between you and me.
Ooh, yeah.
I love gold. The look of it, the taste of it, the smell of it, the texture.
The texture.
I haven't seen one of those in a while, man. I like it.
Oh, well, we've seen
Good.
that at the Shining review. So,
Yeah, that was actually not that long ago, was it?
yeah, and Brad, I forgot to ask you before the show. Am I taking like the main winner, or are we doing averages?
Averages.
Okay. So
You
I'm
need
ready
help
to
with it,
tell
or
you the result. I'm ready to tell you the results if you want me to, or if we
hit me the
want to wait a
results?
minute. Okay.
Uh,
I have 71% said they give it an A, with
do you know how many votes?
7 votes. 7 votes. 71% gave it an A. Uh, 14% gave it a B, and 14% gave it a D. So I can pretty much tell you, it is 5 votes for A, 1 vote for B, and 1 vote for D.
One for D. Got it. So I can do that. Give me just a second, and I'll get it squared away. While you
Yeah,
help
I'm
us,
ready. You just let me know what to put in here, and I'll make it.
that I can do. So let's go with that. Mhm. One. And we're going to divide that by 7. That's going to
me
be
check
a
the chat.
3.43.
All right, and let me see here. I think I can pull up it. Yeah, I got. Actually, no, that's not it. Do you have it on you?
I do, yeah. So that's going to give the movie a B plus.
All
That
right.
1D took it down.
Damn, and I understand that. Totally understand that. And Brad, what was the percentage?
The percentage was 83%.
Okay,
83%.
great. Okay, excellent. Just letting that say. Okay. Yeah, so Brad, if you want to address anything in the comment, I got this currently loading right now. So they can
Okay.
freaking see what they created.
Yeah, dude. Lamontre said Dr. Sleep gets an A for him being amazing. I agree, man. I get it to you as well. Aaron Click says, who are all these people giving Dr. Sleep a D? I don't know. It doesn't need any D. It needs freaking A's, man. But that is cool. And Byron Weaver says, hey guys, and hello to you as well. So yeah, just bear with us. I mean, this is a new process for us, but we wanted again to have, there you go. There's the scare scores. Let me get rid of Byron. Whoops. There we go.
That's my fault.
This is the fan scare scores for Dr. Sleep. It gets a B plus from you guys, and 83% of horror fans gave this a positive review.
Yeah, so congrats. So great job, guys. And again, I wanted it to go into A territory, but from the 1D vote, I totally understand that. Like, just because I totally understand, because I bet you again that's like from the baseball scene. That's just my guess. I'm not going to put words in people's mouth, but I'm assuming that's the reason for it. But again, that's okay, because again, we love hearing different opinions. We're all about different opinions on this channel. But yeah, B plus is still a very strong
And it's strong.
score.
And keep in mind, guys, as we do this more and we make this a bigger thing, I mean, our goal is to get a larger audience in, obviously, and to get more numbers so we can get more accurate representation from horror fans. And I think this is a good start. I think that's probably accurate. It matches up with some of the the numbers from Rotten Tomatoes and stuff like that. So I think it's a good test run here, and I think yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So
Yeah. And then, yeah, dude, and I had a lot of fun talking about this movie. I know we talked about like 3 hours worth. So, like in the future, I'll probably say like most of these particular streams are going to be like an hour, between an hour and hour 10 minutes. We had to go a little bit over because, again, we had 3 hours of movie to talk about with the director's cut. And that's what we did talk about for some, is the director's cut.
Yeah, exactly. I think they'll be around the same time, a little less.
Yeah,
But,
that's the goal, is to aim for that. So, Brad, anything else? And yeah, we appreciate you guys too for making like voting and all that, and just making this fun, because I had a really good time with this tonight.
I did too, man. It's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to doing some more of these and tackling some fan faves, man.
Oh, dude, especially the next one we're doing after we come back from Thanksgiving, because this is Thanksgiving week. I am super excited because I've been waiting for years to talk about a particular movie on this channel.
And it's coming very soon, and it's coming with a
Yeah,
vengeance.
yeah, pay attention to all that. So, Brad, you want me to say what's coming up on the channel?
Yeah, bud.
Alrighty. So first off, if you are fans of the old classic Stream Demons. Sorry, God, it's been such a long time. So, Stream Demons. We're doing a reboot series of that called the Scream Warriors. It's going to be considering your boys from Good Will Hunting, of myself and Brad, the awesome team of Fear Freaks, Braden and Destiny, and also we're including me from the Final Ghouls as well. Where our possibly the goal is to maybe have our first episode in early of 2023. Be sure we do have the socials up. You can find Scream Warriors on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, assuming if Twitter is still alive at that point, because that whole Twitter world is going crazy. So all those socials are there just to stay tuned, not only for when this series is happening, but also for the members. What I've been posting is when they are doing particular streams on their own too, so you never miss out on the Scream Warriors' stream.
Right, you are, Ted.
Yeah, and also I will be on break. Speaking of Scream Warriors, and Chris Snyder also is a producer for the Scream Warriors, so he'll be the behind the scenes guy. So what better person to do that than Chris? And tomorrow, me, Braden, and Chris are doing our debut episode of the Spider-Man movie podcast, which that is a comic book podcast where we talk about all things superheroes. And what better way to start a first episode than to do a MCU ranking of all 38 movies and Disney Plus series on Disney Plus. So there's going to be a long stream, but it's going to be so much fun. And that is tomorrow on Braden's channel at 8 o'clock Eastern time.
Hell to the yes.
Yeah, so Brad, take this one away.
Oh, Tuesday night we got a Slash It Out return. We're doing X versus Pearl. Pearl just came out on Blu-ray. So we're going to be doing that epic freaking matchup between these Ty West flicks of 2022. And we got none other than Filthy Dan, the freaking man himself, coming back to join us for that. It's going to be a hell of fun welcoming him back to the world that is of YouTube. You may tackle the rest too, Birdie?
Yeah, might as well.
And then a couple weeks after that, not a specific date yet, but it pertains to tonight. We're going to be doing The Shining versus Dr. Sleep. Slash It Out. That's going to be epic as a mofo, getting back into the Shining universe one more time for the time being. And then we're also in the works of a really cool show called Based on a Real Story. And we're starting that off with the true story that inspired The Conjuring. It's going to be a lot of fun and very informative, I think, and really creepy too at the same time.
Oh, dude. Yeah, I've done some reading on the real story of it. And, dude, y'all don't want to miss that particular video or live stream. We haven't decided what we're going to do yet. We'll be sure to let you know if it's going to be a live stream. And if not, we'll just freaking drop it on there. So be sure to hit those notifications bells so y'all don't miss that. And then the next interactive movie review is going to be one of my all-time personal favorites. And we're finally talking about it. I do not have the thumbnail, unfortunately, Brad, so my apologies on that. But it is You're Next, and I am so jacked.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, man, dude. So I cannot freaking wait for that. So that's all that's coming up on the channel. And Brad, anything else before we just send everybody packing away?
That's it, man. Hit the comments. Let us know what you thought about this review format. If it's something you think you guys are going to like long term, and any ideas you have there. But other than that, man, stoked about it, and yeah, really pumped about everything.
We're gonna pump you up. And yeah, you see me have my Kansas City gear, so I'm gonna go ahead and get ready to see my freaking Chiefs play. I had a great time today, so we will see you guys on Tuesday at 8 o'clock Eastern time for Slash It Out of X and Pearl with special guest Filthy Dan, and we'll freaking just see you then.
Peace out.